basic ground rules for the audience that you have to smile and laugh whenever I crack a joke. Huh? So I get motivated, so that the speaker gets motivated. Okay, so I'm the founder of an agri-tech company, Gramshi Kisan. I sell livestock, inputs, veterinary services and technology. Most of the people get confused that I'm a veterinary doctor or maybe some kind of agriculture researcher. So I let them get confused. I enjoy the confusions, in fact, because I do not want that assumption to go away. So if you're not going to tell anyone, I'm going to tell you that I'm not. I'm an MBA plus engineer who is now full-time into gai, bakri, murgi, machli and all that. So I am also made to understand by now that many of you do not know me or about my startup, and I feel sad for you. Because that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm completely, entirely self-obsessed as an entrepreneur, because I truly believe that entrepreneurship is a lot like me. So while I'm here going to speak about the future you, so naturally it follows I'm going to speak about the present me. So entrepreneurship is like an agri-tech enterprise grappling with all the technologies around it and wondering whether it got it right in the first place and still trying to find a way to rise regardless. So honestly telling you, I'm an accidental entrepreneur by default. Like all of us, I went where life took me for work. I was working with Oyo when suddenly from nowhere Corona happened. And there were huge layoffs in the company, and unfortunately I was one of them. So when I was struggling to survive during this period, so you know how fierce it was for a working woman to get laid off suddenly and sit at home when she desperately wanted to work. So it was such a fierce situation during Corona times. So all that while when I was struggling to cope up with the situation, I get a call from Project Management Unit, Department of Fishery, Government of Bihar. And guess what? They were offering me the job of project consultant in fishery. Thanks to Naukri.com those days. So you know, without giving a second thought, I immediately said yes to the offer because I thought I was getting some kind of a government job. So Sarkari Naukri is such a kind of hype in Bihar when all your family members are in Sarkari Naukri, and most importantly, your husband is in Sarkari Naukri. So I was always, you know, being so underrated, the bichari types, doing a private job, not getting through a Sarkari Naukri. So I immediately said yes to the offer. So I joined, and that time, Department of Fishery was in Kabutar Khana. So it was so amusing to know Machli Vibhag in Kabutar Khana, and Kabutar Khana was so khatarnak. It is somewhere in Hartali More. You guys must visit, huh? Lovely place. Was in fact, it should have been declared as an ancient ruin by now. The premises was so dirty, the washrooms were so clean, you know, pan ki peak, gutka ke wrappers and all that in the washrooms. So I thought कि भाई साहब कोरोना से मरूं तो ना मरूं, यहाँ की गंदगी से जरूरी मर जाऊंगी. और उस दिन सरकारी नौकरी का ख्याल दिलो दिमाग से पूरे जहन से निकल गया. So gathering much courage, yes, you can clap. So one day, gathering much of courage, I went to my boss. I was like this, you know, I was like thinking that he's going to get so mad at me. So I was like, sir, I cannot work here, this place is such a mess. So he was very calm and composed, to my surprise, and he offered me another job. I was like, bhai, corona chal raha hai, people are jobless, and I'm getting ek pe ek job ka free offer types. So I get another, he offered me another job in a company called Scope Training and Consulting Private Limited, which is again a training and consultancy firm in animal husbandry and fishery. So guys, I belong to the era when guys used to say कि लड़कियां तो मैथ्स नहीं कर सकती. So दिल पे ले लिया था मैंने बस उस समय, बिल्कुल. So लड़कियाँ मतलब मैंने engineering कर ली, maths पढ़ लिया, and now I had to establish the fact that an engineer can do agriculture, and that too मछली, मुर्गी, गाय, भैंस, बकरी, etc. But this time I studied hard. I worked a lot. I worked day and night and gathered as much of knowledge as I could of this sector. And all those while I was always thinking about my boss, that poor guy, like he has offered me another job, where will he get, such an intelligent or brilliant employee like me. But back of the mind चल रहा था कि इतने सस्ते में engineer और MBA मिलेंगे कहाँ. So I had joined, while I was getting obsessed with my bakris and murgis and machlis, I get another call from an international beauty pageant, and they informed me that I have been selected amongst the top 7 beautiful women in the country, and I had to fly to Mumbai the next week, and I had to share the platform with none other than Miss Universe, Miss Sushmita Sen. Fashion used to be a hobby that time of, like many of us, girls have. So I flew to Mumbai, did the photo shoots, and I won the contest with the title Superwoman Frame of Identity, and very soon I was on the cover pages of the International Fame Fashion magazine, Mini and More. It's still there, you can go through the websites. And then I got a chance as a direct entry to Mrs. Universe 2020. So that time, that was the part of decision making. So that is the toughest part of your life. That is the most important part of your life, because decisions define destiny. So at that moment, I questioned myself whether being a fashionista was a hobby for me or was it an aim of my life. And I realized by then I had developed a larger perspective to the life, because I thought that God made everyone beautiful. So what is the point of contesting for beauty? So by that time that meant that I had started loving what I was doing in the field of agriculture, and I had started believing that what I was doing is a great work. And by then, I wanted to become the voice of that development ecosystem, to convene, to conserve, to continue sustained action in order to transform the quest of the billion of Indians to thrive with dignity and equity. By then, I had discovered there lies an immense potential in animal husbandry and fishery to serve as an engine of economic growth, poverty reduction, and employment generation. So the thought of the impact I could bring to transform 1 million of lives transformed me into an entrepreneur at that very moment. The decision to say no to fashion in order to solve the problem of larger number of people made me an entrepreneur by default. So while the entire community was being mercilessly trampled by Corona, I had released my first YouTube video on the topic कि 600 स्क्वायर फीट की जमीन पे करे मछली पालन और कमाए लाखों रुपए. So that time usually people were jobless. There is 17% of unemployment in Bihar. The laborers were migrating back to Bihar. So I got around 4 lakhs views in my first video and around 1,000 questions on the first video on what is the right way of doing fish farming. So that huge acceptance from the people defined me into an entrepreneur, and by then my work started to define me, and then I was undeniably unstoppable. And here I am today sharing with all of you the journey of myself and my startup Gramshi Kisan, and in fact I truly believe I am the journey of Gramshi Kisan. So in my journey I planted myself whenever I was buried in the dark. So it doesn't matter how much deeper you sow a seed, it will grow out as beautifully, as taller, as higher. That means no power or poverty can make your life as magical or as miserable. Even if you go for it and it doesn't work out for you, you still succeed, because you had enough guts to go straight into something that frightened you and that kind of courage, that kind of bravery will take you to places. There is no larger satisfaction in life than that of hard work paying off. There is no greater satisfaction in life in knowing that you are self-made. It is sacrificing your today for a better tomorrow. It is living a few years of your life that others won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life that others can't. There is only, a simple difference between the extremely successful among us is the successful guy did not give up. He found a way when there seemed to be no way. Because he firmly believed that it will happen, maybe not immediately, but definitely and absolutely. So the greatest difference between someone's and no one's very often comes down only to the fact that who is willing to take the action, who is willing to put in the grind, who is willing to put in the work.